Alrighty. Good morning. Welcome back. What are these? We got new bubbles on our names here. What is this? YouTube's changing something. Top fans. You gain XP by sending messages, super chats, and super stickers. Huh. Okay. Very cool. Britt, appreciate that, Britt. Yeah, long term's pumping, that's for sure. Semiconductors on the roll. Love it. Nvidia, AMD. Don't have AMD shares anymore, but Nvidia. Love it. Broadcom, love it. TSM, love it. Morning, everyone. Welcome back. How we doing? Chef, let's see. I can see the leaderboard. Chef's in 7th right now. 7th place. Pura Vida. Does it equate to dollars? You know what? Maybe one day we'll do something with it. I don't know. This is new. I've never seen this before. Must be a new thing. So, yesterday, realized some losses on Apple. Pushed it out longer dated. Still interested in the setup. We'll see what today brings, but pretty much cash, to be honest. It's a super small amount of my portfolio. Wanted to come into today heavy cash just to sort of clear the mindset and get back to it. AMD swing trade was great. Wish I held it one more day, of course, but yeah, it's just like it's one of those months for me, man, where it's like you're a day late, $1 short. It seems like it's been pretty much every day pretty much every time this month, man. I'm sure you guys have ran into these types of months where it's just like you sell something for a profit, next day big news comes out, right? And it's like, geez, man, like I wish I held that. So that's sort of my month right now. Had the AMD swing trade, took profits yesterday, then overnight last night, bam, straight up, right? Wake up to like, damn, wish I held that. So it's just been a little bit rocky for me this month, to be honest, guys. You know, nothing that's out of the ordinary, just not really getting the momentum behind me, not getting those wheels turning yet. But, you know, every day's a new opportunity. Let's just keep doing what we're doing. We've been making some great calls. We've been making some great levels, some great break and retests, some great ideas. Just catching it for me has been, for some reason, just hard to catch. I think one of the major reasons I've had some problems is just maybe holding on a little bit too long, right? Not taking profits. A lot of my trades this month have been up that just go back to break even. So, yeah, it's tough. It's all a mindset thing, really, at the end of the day, because you know it's all just in your head. So just clearing out that mindset, just getting back to work is key. So, Tom, appreciate that, Tom. And that's the game plan today. Plenty of opportunity throughout the rest of the month. We got some nice volatility approaching with data, with earnings, so there should be some great opportunities. And just wanted to prepare for that with a heavy cash, flexibility, ready to take on whatever opportunity is out there. So that is my game plan today. It looks like we'll have some opportunities on the semis again. We see a little bit of a pullback on the Bitcoin, so there could be some nice sneaky pullback longs on some Bitcoin names. We'll see. Golf Nut, appreciate that. Thank you, brother. Golf Nut, #1 supporter, straight to the top, $2 donation. Appreciate that, Golf Nut. Golf Nut, we got to go golfing soon. All right, so CPI today. 8:30. It's what a disaster it would be to have everything that we just saw happen overnight get given back by CPI. That would be insanity. I pray for anyone that's long AMD, Nvidia, Semiconductors that they stay higher. I think they will, to be honest. I don't think CPI would drop that news, but hey, this is the concern for swinging through CPI. This is why I took my swing trades off yesterday and just said, hey, let's not risk it. There's no reason to be greedy here. There's no reason to try to make back losses by doing something irrational. And that's sort of the mindset that, I was in yesterday. I was down on some swings. There's that mindset that I'm sure a lot of you guys have had. It's like, well, if I swing this through CPI and it's good, I'm going to make back all my losses. But that's only one side, right? You're only thinking one side. You have to make sure and be very careful in trading that you're not only thinking about one side. What's the other side? The other side is CPI is bad and everything goes down and you just doubled your losses, right? And so that was my mindset yesterday. I said to myself, hey, you could easily, make back everything if we have a good day tomorrow. But I could also put myself in a even larger hole. And I did not want to do that because I know that if I just stick to what I know, I will make that money back anyway. So that was my decision making yesterday. I think it was a good decision. Maybe I'll regret it, right, in hindsight, but that's okay. You have to always think about that. Yeah, you could. If you got a margin account, if you want to sell short, you could always sell, some shares short to protect an options position. Yeah, definitely. I like that idea, Miami. If you guys want to play that game, of course. All right, guys. So let's get started. Press that like button. Subscribe to the channel. Let's do it. Let's see what we got today. So over to the charts on our new cam, our sideways cam. We'll see if we continue to use this camera or not. Let's get started. 1 second here as I get everything prepared. Do you guys know what this is right here? Anyone know what this is? I'd be shocked, but maybe you do. Where's my mouse? There it is. All right. We're ready to go. Let's zoom this thing in a little bit. That's a money owl. That is a money owl. Look it up. Money owl. It watches over me. Make sure I make money. All right. So, air freshener. All right. So, let's start on the NASDAQ futures. Oh, what? Why is my mic? Technical errors here, folks. Bear with me. Keyboard's not working. Now it is. Who? What are you, an owl? All right. Here we go. NASDAQ futures. So, today, shocking move yesterday. A little bit, definitely not what I expected, which, that's the market. So, again, huge hold of demand, 22.8 demand, 62.60 ES, our exact demand lows on the NASDAQ and ES, spot on from the pre-market, just pretty much straight up all day right off those levels. So, the channel stayed intact as we sort of were talking about. And then today, we get the data or the news overnight about Nvidia that just rockets the NASDAQ through new highs. So we are at new all-time highs into CPI, into PPI, and that is very interesting. I did not expect to see that today or yesterday, but what a move. Key levels held, wild. Very, very nice. So if we go to the NASDAQ futures, if you guys remember, we had our 22.8 level, pretty much the exact level we had on our charts right here at 22.8, right here, 22.8, right here, 22.8. Rock solid hold, spot on hold. What a maintain of that level that was. So that's sick. Very nice hold, very nice push. Now, overnight, we had a nice 23,000 maintain. So you guys can see right here, 23,000 was our next level, 23,000, 23,000, 23,000 highs, and look at that hold right there, 23,000 overnight. So we have a very clear, we have very established levels here, 22.8, 23,000. Very nice established levels on the NASDAQ futures. Now, we have a big move higher and a very large gap up on the NASDAQ futures into CPI, which is in about 20 minutes. Unknown what's going to happen there. I'll obviously see in about 20 minutes. The best pullback, in my opinion, as of right now, would either be the 23,100, which is right here. This would be a great pullback to watch to see if this holds post CPI. Or, in my opinion, I think even better at 23,000. So pullback, maybe back to 23,000, could be interesting. Now, here's the problem with failing back under 23,100, right? If we fail back under 23,100 and we do hold 23,000, we will have to be careful of the lower high move, right? We will then have to be cautious of the lower high move. So if we break under 23.1, bounce off 23K, right, then we'll have to still be cautious of the lower high rejection at 23,100. That is something we will have to be watching out for. So most bullish would be just a hold over 23.1, right? Very strong buying off of 23.1 to new highs, and we look for that long off 23,100. Next bullish entry would be 23K. We'll just have to be cautious of the 23.1 rejection. And to be honest, probably the most bullish scenario out of all of them would be this. Pull back to 23K, break back over 23.1, and then a reclaim ripper, right? Reclaim and a rip back over 23.1. That is likely the most bullish scenario that you could get on this market, right? Because you would go lower, trap shorts, get back over 23.1, rip the shorts out, and then new highs, here we come. So that could be sort of what you look for today. Now, I believe if you fail back under 23,000, that would sort of crush the overnight momentum. Now, I'm not saying long-term momentum, long-term bullish structure. It would not crush that, but it would likely crush the short-term bullish momentum. So if we did fail back under 23K, you'd probably just trade right between the channel that we were previously trading within, which is 23,000 to 22,800. All right, so I think line in the sand today for the bulls is 23K. You definitely want to see that hold, in my opinion. And then we're just going to have to sort of see. This is going to be a very interesting area right here. Anywhere between 23,000 to 23.1 is very bullish if we get a pullback through it. We're just going to have to see how the bulls react in here, right? Do we see a nice hold? Do we see, back to 23? What do we see in this area right here between 23.1 and 23,000? That's going to be the key today. How do the bulls react to that 100-point zone? If we fail back under 23, then I think you would lose some short-term momentum, personally. That's not a major short. That's not a major breakdown because the market is extremely bullish right now, in my opinion. But that would just sort of be like a today type of momentum loss type move. So 23K, 23.1, 22.8, very clear levels. We've had these levels pretty much all week. Let's see how we react today. On the QQQ, it's right around the 557 to like the 555, right? That 555 yesterday reacted again. If we go down to the 5-minute chart, we can see early morning yesterday, we had some trouble at the 555. So we can see right here, the 555 Qs had some trouble at that 555 Qs to start the day. That was sort of like the early morning rejection point that kept the Qs down in the short term. Now, eventually, you did get over the 555 and you held above it through the rest of the day, which was very, very nice. So if we get a pullback today, I'm definitely going to be watching that 555 area right here, right? That's sort of like our 23,000 level. And then above that, you're looking at these highs, which look to be anywhere between 557 and I'm going to grab down to like that 556.35. So you can see right here, 556, 556.40, 556.35, these highs, these lows, these highs here, right? So watching this area right here, 557 to 556.35 zone. That 555 yesterday is definitely important. If you break under 555, that would be sort of the move back, back down to this low at 552. But what a great hold at 552. We're still above that 550. We talked about 550 being just sort of that major, major spot. That level is not giving up. Very clear still there. The 555 would be the next level in the sand, so I would be watching that. And then these highs are just sort of, And we're about to see it on the ES. These highs are just sort of messy to me. You know, like you can see we have a high here, high here. We have 3 different levels here. And so like for me, you know, part of me just wants to take that off my charts and just watch the 555. But I don't think that's proper, even though I think it might be cleaner to do so. So if I look, I had a little bit of trouble, not going to lie, on the QQQ today. I did. I had some trouble. Like honestly, if I delete all of this, I'm having trouble finding where that exact level would be. Now, I can see it's probably around this 557.30, right? You can see these, you know, 3 highs right around this 557, 557.30. All right, we see right here, right here, right here. And so, like, between that and 557, I think is a great spot. So that's going to be, you know, that first watch. It's going to be, do we pull back and hold these triple top highs? Do we hold this level right here? That lines up pretty much perfectly with right here at 23,100, right? So that's sort of what I'm watching there. Now below that, it's not really perfect. It's 556, it's 555, it's somewhere in these highs. It's just not very clear. For now, that's why I had like this little 555.40, right? To around the, let's call it 555.50 to around the 555. I think that's right now where I'm going to be watching. But I think I need a little bit more, you know, clarity, to be honest. I think I need a little bit more clarity. If I go down to the 15-minute chart, you can see these highs, you can see these lows, you can see our 555. I think that's going to be a major spot. So I will keep that on my charts, right? 555, 555.50 zone, these highs, these lows, definitely a reaction yesterday at 555, so that's going to be big. And then pretty much just these highs at 557. That's going to be the area, right? That pretty much lines up perfectly with our NASDAQ 23.1 and our 23,000. That's as close as I think you can get it. Let's see what the market does at these key levels today. S&P 500. So here's, you know, a question mark for you folks. You're still under these highs on the ES. So, a little bit questionable, right? A little bit cautious, right? Don't want to get too worked up yet about just chasing. I mean, chasing longs, first of all, today is not a good idea. We know that. And always we know in bullish markets, pullbacks are the best long opportunities, right? We know that. We've seen that. And so you can see today, look at this, right? 63.35, 63.35. Look at 63.35 right now. We are technically failing that level as of right now. So you can see 63.35. That high got hit in the overnight session. We're starting to fail back under it right now. So a little bit of caution there. I think it's right to have a little bit of caution there at 63.35. Now, you guys remember our 63.15 spot, which was a major rejection, 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 and even yesterday, rejection again, right? 63.15 was the exact high of day yesterday, right there. I mean, on the dot. 63.15 has been a very clear level across this ES for the last pretty much week and a half. So now, that's going to be where I want to see a pullback to, in my opinion. I want to see these highs between, I would say, 63.15 and 6300 turn into a very strong hold, right? And that could be over a day's period, over a 2-day period, whatever it might be. I want to see this establish itself as a higher low here. 63.15 to 6300 is where I need to see a very strong established bounce come out of. Anywhere between, right, if I go to the 5-minute chart, anywhere between this low and this high, I want to see bulls step up strong in this area here. Okay? That's really what I want to see. That's the pullback I'd like to get. That's the confirmation I'd like to get from the bulls that they're going to hold this demand zone. If that does come true, then I would look to long that maybe back into 35, or I would just wait for the reclaim back over 35. If we break under 6,300 today, then I think that's the same thing as the 23,000 break, and I think that would lose short-term momentum, right? I think you would lose short-term momentum under 6,300 today, right here. I think that is a must-hold level today. 6,300, this little low right here that was established overnight, is, in my opinion, a must-hold spot. What a hold of our 6260. Unbelievable. In our pre-market yesterday, that was the exact spot. What an insane maintain of that level. So if you do break down under 6,300 today, no, it's not long-term bearish. No, this is not a break of trend. No, this is not a break of structure. It's just basically a fail back within the channel, which we have seen very we've seen that happen quite often back in May. We saw those little attempts above channel highs that would just fail right back within. And is that possible today on CPI? Yes, it absolutely is. So let's stay open to that until we really establish a hold over 35. And I think the first step that you want to see happen today, the first step in the right direction to establish a higher low and to continue out of this, right, to get our expansion, right, because we're looking for that expansion move, right? We want to get that expansion move. The first sign of expansion here, in my opinion, would be to turn these highs into new lows, right? If we can turn this high, these highs, and this high into a very established new low today, that would be the first sign, in my opinion, of an expansion move coming. We shall see. We shall see in about 9 minutes what CPI has to say. So, a little bit concerning on the ES still, right? You can see still below that high. 63.35. Definitely something you need to be paying attention to today. No doubt. SPY. So SPY is, see, like there's two different highs here, which is sort of tricky. And I've had some trouble with the SPY. I like the ES, honestly, a lot. I think the ES is a lot cleaner right now than the SPY. But it's possibly this 627 spot. It's 627, 626.87 is like this high right here, right? You see this high right here from Thursday. You're failing back under that. So sort of watching that. In my opinion, I might just leave these highs off the SPY and just watch this ES, because for me, the ES at 63.35 is so much cleaner, right? You have a very clear sort of, same 63.35 high. These are all at the same levels. You can see it rejected the exact same level on the dot 3 times. On the SPY, it's not really the same level. It's like 626.30, I guess, is as close as you can get that there. I might just use my ES, though, to be honest. This is when things don't line up perfectly, I'll just look at the one that's really clean. And for me, that ES is very clean. So if you want to use the SPY, it's right in here, 626.30. It's the 626.87. It's these highs and these highs right here, which just are not really perfect. If you want to draw a little zone between that, I don't think that's a terrible idea, right? Maybe between right there. If you want to draw that zone between these highs here and these highs here. But it's just a little bit sloppy. It's not perfect to me. What is perfect to me? It's these pullbacks right here. This is perfect. This is perfect. This is perfect. Right here is perfect. Right here is perfect. And right here on this low is perfect. So what am I looking for today? I'm just looking to see if we can pull back to the perfect level, which is this. This is clean. High, 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 and high, right? Can we pull back to this and hold this? If so, then I get more confirmation, all right? And I'm sort of ignoring, some of these sort of just highs above. I want to see this establish itself. I need to see a pullback. I need to see us, give back this frothy upside move. Let's see what CPI does back at this 626 or 625, 624.60 spot. I think that's a little bit more established, which would also, line up perfectly with our ES at 63.15 and 6,300, right? That makes a lot more sense to me, personally. SPY back down to this zone right here. Makes a lot of sense. 624.60, 624 area. I want to see us pull back and hold that, just like this, right? Pull back to this high, this high, this high, this high. And I'm just sort of ignoring this and this, right? I want to see us come back down to that major spot. That very established zone that has been rejecting. Can we hold it as support today? Okay? And then if I do look for that, then I'll understand, all right, I'll be looking at my ES and I'll say, okay, we're still under 63.35, so there is some concern on that. To me, that's very clear. if you really want to have that SPY level, which I think is properly, it's proper to have that SPY level on there, I would say it's 620. I don't like when levels aren't at like whole numbers or at 50s. Like, so I don't really like a 626. This high is 626.28. I mean, I just don't really like that. It's like, is it really a level 626.28? To me, it's not really a level. I like more like major spots. So yeah, and like, if you were to long this, you'd be longing this and this. I just don't like it. I don't feel comfortable with it, right? And so I'm not building this to be perfect. This is something I think, I want to get across here. I'm not building levels to be perfect. I'm building them for my own thesis, all right? That's something that I think you should really think about. Are you building levels to be absolutely perfect about what could happen, or are you building levels because you're trying to create a thesis for yourself on the intraday? For me, I try to create a thesis and a story through my levels for myself as I trade, right? And so my story here would be not really interested in longing any of these highs, right? I'm not really interested in getting involved, off these highs here. I'm much more interested in getting involved if we get a deeper pullback to here. Right, and so what I would do is I'd just leave that level on my charts, just so I know I'm not, getting all worked up on some short-term stuff. So for me, I like this zone. Let's relook at this in about 4 minutes when CPI comes out. Let's relook at it and let's see what the ES and everything's doing, and then maybe we'll get a better picture. Okay. All right, so we got CPI in 4 minutes. Let's go to the SMH real quick. What an opportunity yesterday. This was like a little sneaky idea that we had on the Discord yesterday. Didn't act upon it, but is the SMH panic downside yesterday a huge opportunity? And boy, oh boy, was that an opportunity. Unreal. Pretty much panic downside early morning yesterday on the SMH, and just look at this thing. So what an opportunity yesterday on the SMH. Insane. Awesome holds. Go to the hourly chart. That 283 spot that we had held perfectly. And then the reclaim back above 285 to end the day was incredible. So you can see we reclaimed back above that 285 to end the day. And then, of course, we get the Nvidia news that just sort of rockets this thing higher. So today, pretty damn clear on the SMH. We need a pullback, in my opinion, back to this 288 to 289 area. If we can get a pullback to this and we can hold here, that's your next long opportunity on the SMH. Look for a pullback to this high, these highs. Look for this to come back down and maintain 288. If you break back under 288, that is a little bit of a concern for a move back down to 285 to give back this move. You have to hold above these highs at 288. You cannot fail back below these highs right here. If you fail back below that, you're trading back down to 285, okay? So SMH, obviously the major sector in watch. You should be watching SMH. This is definitely something to watch, 288. Last thing we'll look at real quick before the data comes out is Bitcoin, and I think this is a good pullback on Bitcoin, and I think this is the pullback that you should be looking for. It is back to these highs at 113,500 right here. See these highs right here? That's the retest you're looking for. On IBIT, that is right here around the 64, right around 64 to 6350 zone. Right here. These highs, you're looking for a pullback to this on the IBIT. If you can get a pullback to this level, this is a break and retest, and this could really set up your next Bitcoin long. This could be a great spot for Coinbase, for MicroStrategy, for any Bitcoin proxy name. This would be the pullback that you really want to get. So I'm going to set an alert there at 64, and I'm just going to look to see if we can get that pullback on Bitcoin today. Okay? All right, here we go. CPI. Let's see what happens here. Let's get the ES up. Let's make sure we watch this 63.35. Let's see what happens if we get a little bit of a dip into this zone here. If we can hold that zone post-CPI, I like this for an opportunity. Press that like button if you guys could. Subscribe to the channel. Here we go. Okay, first reaction is slightly higher. It looks like it's a positive reaction for now. CPI is, okay, year over year is a basis point higher. Month over month is slower. Core CPI year over year is lower, so pretty much slightly lower. I mean, basically in line. 0.3 versus 0.3 month over month, 2.7 versus 2.6 year over year. Hamish, appreciate that, Hamish. All right, so a little push. Little push. Can we, okay, we're back over 35. And it looks like it's strong. It looks like it's strong right now. So we're back over 35. We're going to put this as green for now, but we'll see how that reacts on the intraday. 63.35. Can that maintain today? I definitely wanted a pullback, I'll be honest, to find good opportunities today. Because if this thing does not pull back, then you're in a gap and go environment, which can be sort of tricky. 63.35. These highs are 63.33. And you're just sort of watching that zone right there. You're watching these highs. All right, so you're sort of just, you're sort of just there. Not much, but bullish. Holding. Not going down, I guess you could say. Not yet. Okay, so 23,000 is looking like the best pullback now, if we can get that. This is still looking to be the best right here. One of these would be fantastic if we can get it. Not sure we will. QQQ right here at the 557 would be fantastic. Not sure we will. ES over 35. We'll have to be sort of cautious on how this... Yeah, it's still just sort of right there. Let's see if we hold this 35 here immediately. See if we can hold this 35 immediately. That's what I would watch. If we don't, this is sort of questionable. Okay. Yeah. It's a frothy morning. It's a morning on a gap. It's a gap and go morning right now. So there's, the discipline would say wait for something better of a pullback. But let's look at some individual equities and see if we can get some good pictures here. So, Tesla, really nice hold of the 312 level. This was that gap level when we gapped down off 312. You can see we held that perfectly yesterday. Look at this 312 hold. Break, retest, previous highs, into lows. Break and retest, 312 hold. Very, very nice on Tesla. If we can clear out this 320 high, then I think you will see that upside continuation. So I would be watching 320, I'd be watching 312, and I'd be watching 330. Those would be my next three levels on Tesla. Nvidia, what a pump. Shout out Nvidia shareholders. Unbelievable move again. I mean, at this point, I think Nvidia is a $200 stock. I'm not going to lie. But let's see where we can get pullbacks today. The pullback you really want, right, to not be stuck in some kind of, flash downside, the pullback you want is 168. Do you get 168? I couldn't tell you. But do you want that? Yes. You want this right here. This is where you want a long Nvidia. You want a long at 168. That's the same way you wanted a long at 162.50 yesterday, and Nvidia gave you a blessing, right? An absolute blessing yesterday on Nvidia. Look at this. Yesterday, 162, basically a straight down move into that level, and the rest of the day just straight back up. So an absolute blessing, right? And if this should limit your FOMO, my friends. Like this move yesterday, you've had multiples of these moves, right? Look at Thursday of last week. Nvidia straight down into demand, great opportunity, right? And look at yesterday. Nvidia straight down into the same demand level, great opportunity, all right? So you don't have to chase upside in a bullish market. You get these freak downside moves that just get instantly bought back up, all right? So this would be great to get today. This is why I wanted to see a pullback today, because I would trust that as an opportunity. So if we get some kind of straight down move on Nvidia today, watch this 168, right? Could be a blessing, right? You'll get these moves. You just sort of have to be ready for them. So 168, definitely. 166.50, definitely interesting as well. Do I think you're going to get 162.50? Probably not. If you do, you better be watching that. But for now, I'd say 168. For now, looks like you're holding that 171 high, which you could put on your charts if you want to really be sort of frothy here. 171 looks to be a spot. If we go to this 5-minute chart, you can see the 171 high from the overnight session, 171, 171, 171, 171. So I think you could watch 171 if this thing just wants to rip today. But if you break 171, I would just make sure you understand 168 is likely coming. And that's probably the next best long, right? So 168, 171 would be the two spots. This would be a very aggressive, overextended long. This would be your best pullback today, in my opinion, here. 168, which would be a retest of these previous highs right here. That would be a beauty. So watch out for that today. AMD. Awesome. I mean, 142 again, man. Unbelievable. This was the long that I was in on the swing trade. I basically took profits on AMD like when it reclaimed pretty much the entire downside move from the early morning session. And I said, hey, let me take this win. Obviously, in hindsight, not the right call. But, hey, I took some profits. I needed to do that. 148 right here. These highs. That was our level to break. You can see it ripped through that in the overnight. 142, just a free ATM. I mean, just an ATM machine at 142 on AMD. 142, 142, 142, 142, 142, 142. I mean, 3 days in a row. Look at 142 on AMD. Right here, and right here. Unbelievable. What a key level. What a major spot. That is awesome. So you can see that was an incredible opportunity and a blessing in disguise yesterday, which you want to see again, right? A blessing in disguise. You want to get those pullbacks to find new opportunities. So right now, AMD is rejecting a major 154 supply. I would like a pullback to 150 or, of course, a 148 pullback. Those would be my best pullbacks. 148 would be the best, the absolute rock star entry on AMD. You can see right here, here's your highs, 148, 148. This would be a rock star entry if we can get that pullback to 148. There or 150 would be two levels I'm watching. On the 4-hour chart, 154 is this high right here. And it also, if I got to go back a little bit more, you will see 154 be a major spot across a few months. So if I go here and look at 154, you can see 154 were some lows, major rejections, break hold, big rejection, right? So 154 is definitely the next spot. That's where your start is stalling right now. Over 154, you go 157. This would be your rock star entry right here, 148, if we can get it. I don't know if we will. ES is sort of getting right at that 63.35 still, okay. TSM still has a pretty heavy high above, so, I'd probably just set an alert here and just wait to see if TSM can get above. I don't really like a long into that 236 spot. I would look to see if that can break out first, personally. Broadcom, sick. Another just buy Broadcom and close your eyes move. That's all it's been doing. Look for this pullback today at 277. This would be a rock star entry on Broadcom. Pullback long at these highs, these highs, these highs, and these highs. If we can get a pullback long right here at 277, I think that's a great opportunity. Over 280, also very interesting. So over 280 or back to 277 on Broadcom would be really, really nice to look for. Some other semiconductors, MRVL, let's see what that thing's up to. ARM gave us a perfect pullback yesterday. We'll go over that in a second. MRVL, sort of interesting off 70. I'll put that on the back burner for now. But ARM, what was the level we were looking for ARM pullbacks at? It was 141.50. That was our retest level we were waiting for on ARM. Look what happened yesterday. 141.50, 141.50. Look at yesterday on ARM. 141.50 on the dot. Look at this. Perfect hold of that level. Crazy. So I think this is very interesting. If semis can continue to juice, I think that's a great pullback for you on ARM. There's only one level that I'd like to see break before taking this long, and that's right here at 152. I don't want to long back into that 152 because I just don't want to be, stuck in this channel. So what I would look for on ARM is a break and hold back above the daily 20 and a break and hold back above the 152 level. If you can get that, I like that for an opportunity at the 158. So watching 152 very closely. All right, let's go to Apple. Apple has been a pain in my ass, to be honest. It's like the battle between short-term price action and long-term opportunity. But that's just sort of what that's just been the problem. So I did sort of ditch this trade yesterday. I'm holding some light August positions, but really nothing. I'm basically 99% cash today. 207 is still interesting, still a very strong hold, still a nice consolidation here on Apple above these previous highs, right? Previous highs, new lows. It's still a very nice opportunity, but I think you want this to go into real time, and it's just not in real time. Real time is when something is like, let's say MSTR or like, the semiconductors. That's real time. It's going, it's moving, it's juicing, right? Apple is stuck in purgatory. So, yeah, it's not real time. A little bit of my mistake for getting involved in that. It just looked like such a great setup, and maybe, I think it's still a great setup. It's not that I think my analysis is incorrect. It's just the fact that the price action is just not there. So, going to be watching it, right? Let's keep monitoring it, but I think it's smart to just stay out of it for now. If it starts to juice today and it gets back above the 100, then maybe some interest comes back in. And then, honestly, what we say might be true, right? What we always say is probably true here. Just wait for 215 to break, honestly. That seems to be the right call, all right? Just wait for 215 to break. Once 215 breaks, that thing is going to enter real time. And that would be the trade from here to here, rather than getting involved in this, right? So that looks to be the right call on Apple. Meta, beautiful hold yesterday off our daily 20. This was our great idea on Meta off these lows. Look at this again, held perfectly. Today, I want to see Meta get over 728. If Meta can clear out right here at 728, I think you can get more interested. So watching that 728 on Meta. Amazon, really nice looking hold above our 224, 225 zone yesterday. Right here, you guys can see previous highs, previous highs, previous highs. Look at these holds coming in on Amazon. So watching these holds above 225 today and 224, if Amazon can continue to hold that, I like this curl on Amazon. Look at the break and retest that's going on right now, right? Really nice look. Previous highs, look at the lows. So keeping very close eyes on Amazon there. Google, holding over the 182.50, which is actually very important today. You can see right here in the 4-hour chart, 182.50. I'm actually going to change this chart up a little bit. That's a really important 182.50 hold. Next level is 185. If you can get over 185, I think you have room. But right now, Google is holding above this 182.50, high and high, which is sort of interesting right there. Not a bad watch, right? Keep an eye on that 182.50 level. Next level would be up into 185. So put that on your charts. Let me go ahead and make that red real quick. So right there, 185. That's your next level. Above that, I think you have more room. You can see right here on the 4-hour chart. Above 185, you would reclaim these lows right here. Reclaim these lows right here. And if you can do that, I think you're going to trade right into this at 189. See this? So 185 next rejection point. Watch out for that. Above that, I like 189. 182.50, very important hold. Let's go to Netflix has earnings, so I'm going to skip Netflix. I don't really want to trade Netflix this week with earnings. Datadog, yes, very interesting on the daily. Gap fill reversal, you guys can see right here. Look at these lows, look at this gap fill, and look at the potential of maybe a reversal on this one. Datadog pulled back, filled that gap, daily 20 SMA, very interesting. Let's see if this thing can clear out 140. That's sort of what I'm waiting for. Maybe even waiting for a clear out of like these lows at 142, honestly. I would like to see, yeah, I'd like to see Datadog clear out these 142 lows right here. Right here. If Datadog can reclaim this 142 spot, then I think it's ready to go on a little inverse head and shoulder. So I'm going to go ahead and put an alert there at 142 on Datadog. Palantir, what a move yesterday off 145. That's going to be your pullback level to watch again. There's nothing wrong with a pullback to 145 here on Palantir. Right here, right here, right here. 145 pullback. That's going to be your best spot on Palantir today. Look for a pullback to 145 Palantir. Robinhood, still interesting, but sort of slow because of the Bitcoin pullback today. I might be time to give this one a little bit of space, a little bit of pullback. Been able to pull out some profits on this thing this week, but really not much. 98.99, still interesting. That 101.50 high was a rock solid wall yesterday, and it was a rock solid wall on Friday, right? Look at this, right here, right here. Just doesn't have as much risk reward with that sitting there. So for me, it might be just one of these where I set my alert and wait to see if that breaks personally. Yes, Circle back over 195. This was one of our watches last week. Sort of flushed out all the longs on Friday, but just reclaimed back above 195. Look at this, 195, 195. All these lows from 195 last week, flushed all those longs out, and then just got right back above it. So classic just stock market move. Watch this daily 20. The daily 20 is sitting right at 195. So look for that pullback at 195. That could be interesting. Just know that that high is still very, very large up there at 210, 213. One other thing. Oh, shit. Yep. Okay. This is possibly my top watch today. This is a very interesting move. Nuclear energy is starting to heat up again. OKLO. OKLO. This is a very, 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 very interesting chart. Look at this weekly chart. Right, first of all, weekly chart looking like a curl on the weekly, which is very nice. We have these weekly highs right here. See these weekly highs from back in February? The high of that week is 59.14 right here. 59.14 is the high of this weekly chart right here. So if we go to the short term, look at where 59.14 is, my friends. 59.14 is right here. That is $59.14 to $60 right here. Previous rejections. Look at what's happening right now. That is extremely interesting. That, to me, would take this to 65. Above that, it would take you to 70. This is possibly one of my top watches today to see if we can get a move here on OKLO. On a hot sector, highs of 65 would be target 1, then 70, target 2, and then if you get above that, man, you're going. So big watch here, big break of this downtrend, important reclaim of that weekly high. Look at the little consolidation that's going on right here. This looks great. This looks really great. OKLO and stocks like this could always do some random stuff. So, if OKLO just does some kind of crazy fail back under, it's unfortunate. But, I mean, in terms of the technical setup, man, this looks incredible. Definitely watching this one today. OKLO. Others, other popular nuclear energy names, CEG, Constellation Energy. Looks like it's possibly ready for a breakout here. Constellation Energy over 330, I think could really get moving. So keeping an eye on that 330 spot on CEG. Right here, 330. You have a gap above 330 into this 350. So this could really be an interesting one today. I want to show you something that's so funny. Look at the daily 20 SMA on CEG. Like, tell me this is not an important level. And look at the daily 20 SMA over the last 7 trading days. It's actually ridiculous. Daily 20, daily 20, daily 20, daily 20, daily 20, daily 20, once again, and look at yesterday. Look at that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 times over the last 9 days, you have basically just held the exact daily 20 SMA. It's actually crazy. It's actually wild. Tell me there's not an algorithm that's longing the daily 20 on this stock. Just insane. All right, look at yesterday's pullback. Right to it. I mean, to a T. Literally within a cent. Just right off of it. So, wild stock, wild formation. Would absolutely be watching over 330 today. That is sick. That is sick. GEV is just our monster. That's my monster right there. How do you say monster in Spanish? me what? That's my monster right there. GEV, love it. Long-term stock, never sell it. I mean, just awesome. See you later, basically. Close my eyes. All right, I think that's about it. Snow, maybe back over 215 could be something. Oracle, what's Oracle up to? Oh, Oracle. Motro. Make sure, I don't want to say something bad. MUCRV, CRWV, you got it, pump. Monstruo. 230. That's an interesting reclaim on Oracle. Where did that hold? 225. Yeah, interesting reclaim on Oracle today. Chupacabra. All right, MU. Yeah, interesting low holding there on MU pump. Right there around 117. You can see right here, 117. That's an interesting hold. I'd probably want to see this clear out this 124 high and get, I would say, back above the daily 20. Pump. And like this 124, 125 area, I'd probably want to see it clear out again. Like right here. See these highs at 125? So just be careful of those 125 highs. Could this be an interesting opportunity off 117? Yes. CRWV. CRWV 150. Yeah, good hold of that 50 SMA. I would say 150 is the level to break now. You got to get back over that 150 here. Right here. See this? See these lows? If you can get back over 150, that could be interesting. I'm going to set an alert there. And then BABA for Shreddy. Okay. First, I want to say BABA is a very tough stock to trade because of overnight gaps. So just know that, Shreddy. A little bit messy here, man. Not going to lie. Little bit messy. I like this hold above like 111.50. That would really be the best entry, man. To not chase BABA, which is sort of horrendous at times. I would probably want to see it like an entry here. Something like that. That would make me a lot more comfortable, to be honest. Right here. 111.50. Daily 20 SMA pullback. Hold above these lows. Hold above those lows. Give me that right there. And maybe I'm interested. Just so I'm not chasing the shit out of this thing. Could it just keep going, though? Absolutely. Absolutely. 115.50. These highs right here. See that? Bam, 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 bam. Yeah, watch 115.50. Pull back to 111.50 would be great. Set an alert there. On a pullback to that. See if it gets over 115.50. If it does, you're probably running to this daily 50 right here at 118. Yeah. Over 115.50, you're probably running to that daily 50 and these highs. Okay. All right, guys. I hope you have a fantastic trading day. If you want to come trade live with us, Look at that. If you want to come trade live with us, link down below in the description. Before you head out, if you could, press that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. Let's stay locked in. It's been a little bit of a tricky month for me, but that means nothing in the grand scheme of things. It's only a month. We all go through those sort of tough months. It's all about how you keep your head together, man. Keep your head in the game. Keep showing up. That's what I'm going to do today. Going to focus on A-plus opportunities. Going to try to get a nice base hit behind me. Get that momentum going once again. And just sort of build from there. Okay? Follow your rules. Look for pullback longs. Trade your levels. Don't get FOMO today. Don't chase things because Nvidia is higher and CPI is up, right? Stick to what you know, and that's it. That's all we can do. Press that like button, subscribe to the channel, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Peace out.